want to start welcoming everybody today. I want thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us today. Today is going to be a fun, at least 1 hour conversation, and I'm very happy to have you all joining us today because there's going to be a lot of learning, and there's going to be an amazing opportunity to um, get to understand what Region 7 Seas has to offer and what Region 7 Seas is all about, but also have an opportunity to really spend some time with Nicole and asking her a lot of questions about anything you want to know about Regent and the brand and what they're up to. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. We expect a good turnout today. Had a lot of people register. And for those that are joining early, you should know that um, if for whatever reason you have to jump off before we're done and you're missing a piece of the presentation, it's okay. We will send you a recording of the presentation later on so that you can watch it at your own leisure as well. Okay, so we're 1 minute away. As soon as we hit 3, I'm going to start. I'll share with you guys some basic instructions, and we'll take it from there. We're expecting today probably close to about maybe 60 to 70 people joining us, which is good. Which is good. I mean, there's a lot of interest right now to learn about Regent. So not sure, Nicole, if you were expecting so many people today, but that's a good thing.
A great thing.
Yeah. So 1 more minute, and then we'll get this going. See a lot of names of current luxury cruise connections clients, by the way. So very happy to see you all here. And many other names of people who will hopefully one day become luxury cruise connections clients. Okay. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. in Miami, which is where we are at. So thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to today's Regent 7 Seas presentation and Q&A with Nicole Castillo. I'm going to let Nicole introduce herself in a second, but before we get started, like I was saying a second ago, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm extremely proud and happy to have an opportunity to share with you, at least an hour of good content and information about Region 7 Seas, about luxury cruise connections, a relationship, and everything that Region 7 Seas has to offer. So throughout today's event, this is what we should expect. During the first 25 minutes, approximately, Nicole is going to address us with a very short presentation on what Region 7 Seas is. I know some of you are very much aware of what Region 7 Seas stand for, but there's some new stuff that Nicole is going to share with us today. Some new new ships, new itineraries, new stuff that I'm sure you want to know about. And for those that don't know so much about Regent 7 Seas, it's okay. This is also for you. The idea is for you to learn what Regent is about and then ask questions. So as you probably, as if you've been with us before and participated in some of these events before, you should know that there is a chat feature in Zoom, chat box. I'm going to type hello. I'm going to ask Denise to share with you guys as well later on in the presentation to share with you our company contact information and so forth. For those that don't have it, I'll share also my contact information. And throughout the presentation, throughout the event today, Denise is also going to push a couple of poll questions. Those questions are going to be so that kind of just like this one, have you ever sailed in Regent 7 Seas? Perfect. So this will allow us to really kind of understand a little bit more about who's joining us today. I'll share some of those stats with you guys as I'm getting them. For example, as of right now, we got 50 participants. About 30 of you have already responded, and 70% of you have never sailed with Regent 7 Seas before. So that means is a great opportunity for you guys to learn a lot more about this brand, because it is absolutely amazing. And if you have more questions toward the end, every single one of those questions that you type in the chat box, I'll be reading, I'll be asking Nicole on your behalf. And also toward the end, we're going to we're going to open up the mics and allow all of you to participate. You will see during today's event that there are quite a few people in this event that have a dash luxury cruise connections next to their name. That means they're a luxury cruise connections advisor or luxury cruise connections team member. And then you see Nicole, she has Nicole Castillo dash Regent 7 Seas, right? That means she is with Regent. We have an amazing partnership and an amazing relationship. And that's why she's here with us today. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us who she is and what she does. And final results in this poll: 68% of you have never sailed with Regent 7 Seas. So that's interesting. That's that's a great opportunity. But very much looking forward to sharing everything with you. So without further ado, Nicole, why don't you introduce yourself and share with our audience who you are, what do you do, and take it away.
Thank you, Carlos. Again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Castillo, and I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Regent 7 Seas Cruises. It's so wonderful to be here today with all of you. I wanted to begin by thanking Carlos and his entire Luxury Cruise Connections team for giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you about travel and more specifically, seeing our wonderful world via cruising. We have a long-standing relationship and wonderful partnership with Luxury Cruise Connections, and I can tell you, you are in wonderful hands with them in handling your travel needs. A special thank you to some of all of the 7 Seas Society members that are joining us today. On behalf of all of us here at Regent 7 Seas Cruises, we appreciate your loyalty. And then another special welcome to the ones that have not sailed with us in the past. We're looking forward to welcoming all of you on board soon. So with that said, I have a great presentation to share with all of you today. You're going to hear about where we are as far as our return to service. You're going to hear some brand updates. Again, for those of you that are not familiar with Regent, I'm going to give you a nice little brand overview and then talk about what's new with Regent 7 Seas. There's a lot of exciting things happening with our brand at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can give you some nice visuals of today's presentation. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Oh, and by the way, at the end of this presentation, Nicole is going to share with us a very exclusive little perk and promotion that we've put together specifically for people that register for this event. It's something very, very special. And we just do it as an appreciation for joining us today and sharing your time with us today. So hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, Carlos. So a quick overview on where we stand with our return to service. I'm happy to say that we have been sailing since September. We took a very phased approach in returning to service. So the first ship we phased in was our 7 Seas Splendor, and she started sailing in September. And then a couple weeks later, we phased in the Explorer, then the Mariner, and then this past month, we phased in the last two ships, the 7 Seas Navigator and the 7 Seas Voyager. So I'm thrilled to say that all 5 of our ships are currently sailing with passengers. We are resuming with original itineraries where possible. We are also asking all of our guests and crew to be 100% vaccinated at least 14 days prior to embarkation. And of course, along with the phased-in approach, we also are sailing right now at about 60 to 70% capacity. So we're not at full capacity just yet, but as the sailings continue to go well, we are gradually increasing capacity. We have a robust and multi-layered approach to our health and safety protocols. And one of the things that we consistently hear since we resumed our sailing from our guests is that they feel safe on board. And I think in the times that we're in, there's no better compliment to receive in our industry than those words. Here, what you see on the screen is basically our multi-layered approach for health and safety on board our ships. So we've divided it into 3 segments, one of them being safety for our guests and crew, the other, what we're doing as far as safety on board our ships, and then safety ashore. I will say that a couple things with health and safety, it has been very fluid. A couple of weeks ago, we were requiring our guests face coverings, but since then we have lifted that requirement. Although we highly recommend face coverings, it's not something that we're requiring. We are also, one of the things we're doing for ships that are sailing out of the US, guests would need to do things like receive a negative COVID-19 test at least 48 hours upon embarkation. If it's for Europe itineraries, guests would be required, I think it's 72 hours. But we do realize that in the times that we're in terms of, there's a lot of different requirements. So one of the things that our brand has done for our travel partners as well as our guests is 30 days prior to sailing, because of how fluid health and safety can be, we are sending out notification to guests and travel partners 30 days prior to sailing with what the health and safety requirements are on their specific voyage, and what's to be expected at each particular port. And also we're doing another notification 14 days prior, and then another one 7 days prior to sailing. So we are made it very a point to articulate, what is required of our guests upon embarkation, prior to embarkation, and then throughout their voyage with us. Now, I'm sure there'll be some questions at the end in terms of health and safety protocols, and I'm happy to answer those as they come. For those of you that are not familiar with Regent 7 Seas Cruises, again, thank you so much for joining us. I want to give you a nice overview on our brand. Here, what you see on the screen are basically 4 distinct pillars on how we defined our brand, with the first one that you're seeing on the screen as far as personalized service. We have one of the best guest to crew ratios in the industry. For every Regent guest, we have about 1.5 crew members on board. And what that does is it gives our crew members the ability to learn about our guests, find out what's important to them, and connect with them and deliver upon that. So we really take pride in providing our guests a very personalized experience. And we're able to do that because, to be quite frank, there's not too many guests on board to begin with. At full capacity for our, I would say I say larger ships, but still they're mid-sized ships. It's no more than 740 guests on board on those ships. And then our most intimate ship accommodates no less than 490, no more than 490 guests. The next pillar is exquisite cuisine. Everything is beautifully presented, freshly prepared. There's several different dining options on board our ships. And then the next pillar, you'll see luxurious suites. When you look at our accommodations, and you'll see some images here in the next couple of slides, we truly try to take the comforts that our guests have in their own homes and really deliver that upon their accommodations on board our ships. So when you look at the size of our suites, they're going to range anywhere between 236 square feet all the way up to our Regent suite, which is a 4,400 square foot accommodation. So a lot of different options as far as spacious suites, no matter what category you are booking. The next pillar, immersive exploration. We really are finding that what's important to guests and why they're selecting a Regent 7 Seas cruise is because of the destinations, not only because of the destinations that we are visiting, but how we immerse them in these destinations. So we visit over 450 worldwide destinations, and that first bullet point I'll go over in the next slide, but we offer everything from free unlimited shore excursions as part of immersing our guests into these destinations. We also have, for example, our Regent Choice small group tours, which are a little bit more intimate tours. We have our Go Local tours, which are, for example, shore excursions that are more off the beaten path. For example, go fishing with the locals in Portofino. We then have our executive collections, where we can basically curate with a private car and driver, whatever experience you desire at a particular port. And then we offer, things like pre and post cruise options or land programs, as well as overland tours mid-cruise. So many, many ways we take pride in how we immerse our guests into the destinations that we visit. And then where we hang our hat, so to speak, is in our every luxury included pillar. And when you look at a Regent Seven Seas cruise, what we offer for our guests in terms of value is very robust. I mean, when you look at our itineraries, we're always going to include round trip airfare. Now, if it's an itinerary that includes an intercontinental flight, so anything over the water, business class air is going to be included out of 30 major gateways. If it is a domestic itinerary, Alaska, Caribbean, it would be economy air. We offer a lot of flexibility surrounding our air program as well. And we know a lot of folks nowadays have points and miles, so they can choose to opt out of our air program and receive a non-use air and transfer credit. I mentioned the free unlimited shore excursions offerings. So just to give you an idea, at any given port, we're offering anywhere between 5 to 8 at average included shore excursions. So these were shore excursions that our guests were already purchasing before we decided to make them as part of our offerings. And they're valued up to $200 per person. So these are wine tasting tours throughout Italy, learn to kayak, snorkeling tours in the Caribbean, bear watching tours in Alaska. And again, it's unlimited. So as much energy as you have, you can take part in an included shore excursion that we're offering in the morning, another in the afternoon. If we're at a particular port late in the evening or overnight, you can take part in an evening shore excursion. So as you can see, we're so inclusive that you can literally step off the ship once you've completed your cruise and not have that dreaded bill at the end. We're always looking at ways to include more for our product. An example of that, just recently we announced free valet laundry service. So no matter what destination you book, what accommodation you book, we are going to include free valet laundry service. So everything from prepaid gratuities, specialty restaurants, that is all part of our standard every luxury included offerings. As I mentioned, we have 5 ships currently sailing. We have our most intimate ship, the Seven Seas Navigator, which is 490 guests. And then we have our Voyager Mariner ships that accommodate about 690 guests. And then we have our Explorer class ships, which are about 740 guest accommodations. So we are getting ready to announce, actually set sail, or as we speak, we are building our 3rd Explorer class ship, the Seven Seas Grandeur, that I'm very excited to share with you some rendering images that we have released recently. But the Seven Seas Grandeur will be the sister ship to the Seven Seas Explorer, as well as the Seven Seas Splendor, for those of you that have sailed on board those 2 beautiful ships. And truly, for nearly 30 years, we have delivered an unrivaled experience throughout the world. All the while, we have been listening to our guests, evolving, and services continually refining each element of our Regent experience. With every luxury included, we ensure you are free to embrace every moment on your journey with us. And then, the Seven Seas Grandeur is inspired by the past and is stunningly reimagined for the future. Seven Seas Grandeur will truly exemplify our heritage of perfection with unrivaled space, unparalleled service, exceptional cuisine, and transformative experiences that will begin from the moment you step on board. The image that you're seeing here is a rendering of our main dining room, the Compass Rose. And as you can see, just modern elegance with lots of whites and black accents. And the image you're seeing here is that Regent suite accommodation that I mentioned was 4,400 square feet. This is the living area on the Regent suite, but a lot of detail as far as the artwork, the furnishing on the Regent suite. And this is going to be found throughout the ship. And I love the statement pieces that you're going to find, not only, like I said, on the Regent suite, but throughout the Seven Seas Grandeur. One of them being, if you notice in the fireplace, the brass flames. I thought that was an interesting piece. And then here you have a rendering of the grand suite on board the Grandeur, and this is the main bedroom. So this is a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath accommodation, about 850 square feet on board the Grandeur. A very popular accommodation on our Explorer class ships is the Penthouse Suite. So this is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath accommodation. And what makes it so popular is those partitions between the bedroom and the living area. It's conducive to, folks that perhaps you have an early riser with someone who likes to sleep in. It really is conducive to those two types of personalities. Here you have our concierge suite rendering on board the Seven Seas Grandeur. So this is a 356 square foot accommodation, very spacious suite, and you can't see it in this image, but it's actually, the bedding is facing the veranda. And this was a design that we introduced on the Explorer class ship that has been very, very popular for our guests. And then this is one of our specialty restaurants, Prime 7, which is a steakhouse. And as I mentioned, we do not have any additional costs for our specialty restaurants. This is the observation lounge, which can be found on deck 12 on board all of our ships. It's basically 360 degrees of floor to ceiling windows. So this is where we have our tea time, our very popular trivia games. As I mentioned, the Seven Seas Grandeur is being built as I speak, and she will set sail for the first time in the fourth quarter of next year, 2023. Her maiden voyage will be a crossing, so Barcelona to Miami, November 25th, and you'll notice she's doing a series of round-trip Miami Caribbean itineraries, but between some of those itineraries, she's also doing two Panama Canal itineraries, one December 21st of 23 and another January 8th. And then she'll eventually cross over to Europe, where she will do a series of Mediterranean itineraries through June of 2024. As I mentioned, these itineraries are now available to book if you are interested in sailing on our newest ship, the Seven Seas Grandeur. I did want to mention for our guests that are past passengers today, and perhaps invited a friend to join today's call, we do have our ambassador referral program where you, as the past guest, referring someone who has never sailed with us before, you are rewarded, each of you, by a $250 savings per reservation. So that is part of our ambassador program, and the advisors at Luxury Cruise Connections are very familiar with this program. Some important dates that I wanted to make sure I mentioned. Our 2025 World Cruise launch is very, very near. We are taking pre-registrations beginning June 1st, and then reservations will be available to book June 15th. In the past, we've opened up our world cruises, and we will also open up the segments of the world cruise. But the last two world cruise launches that we've had, the 2023 and 2024 world cruise, we've actually sold the full ship with full world cruisers. We have not had to open up segments, so we are anticipating the same results for our 2025 world cruise. I don't have details on the itinerary just yet, but I will have that information here soon, and we'll pass it along to your advisors at Luxury Cruise Connections, and they will pass that on to you. Our grand voyages, another very popular destination or itinerary, so to speak. So these are your Circle South America cruises. So our more longer voyages, we will open those up for spring of 2024 till spring of 2025. Beginning pre-registration for those will be July 6th of this year, and then reservations will open up July 20th. And then itineraries are out right now, as you can see, for with the exception of the Grandeur, because the Grandeur has itineraries out through June of 2024, but all of our other ships have itineraries out through actually April of 2024. Come this August, we'll get ready to have another full year itinerary launch where itineraries will be out through April of 2025. So that launch will be open beginning August 24th, and we will be taking pre-registrations beginning August 10th. So important dates to make sure you make note of. We recently
Nicole,
had some, yes?
I have a question. My name's John DeTora. My wife and I are taking a cruise with Regent January of 2024. It's 31 days, New Zealand to Singapore, I believe. Just questioning two things. The free valet service, that's free for all passengers for the 31 days.
For the, yes, the free valet laundry service, wash, fold, and delivered back to your suite is available for the full 31 nights for our guests.
Okay, because it didn't, we've been on Regent on 2 other occasions, and Regent's great, and that's why we're going on this trip. But we didn't have that available to us back then.
Yes, it's a
That's
new
my question.
offering. Yeah, very good question.
Okay.
It's a new offering that we've announced recently.
And secondly, the other question, and this is obviously will change, I'm sure, the health protocols because of COVID, they change probably what, every week, every month?
You know, it's hard to take, there's no specific timeline on when they change. It just depends on many different factors, which is
Sure.
why we send up those updates, you know, starting at 30 days prior to sailing.
Okay, that's great. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. We've recently made some changes to our Baltic itineraries, resulting to in us creating 2 new itineraries that I wanted to make sure I mention on today's call. Now, they are fairly close in itineraries, but I think that they're both fantastic, starting with this 17-night round-trip Copenhagen itinerary, June 21st of this year. But as you can see, it visits several different ports in Norway, several ports in Iceland, including an overnight in Reykjavik. And then towards the end of the cruise, you have an overnight in Oslo. So this newly created itinerary was launched about a week and a half ago. So it's brand new, and it is currently available to book. The second new itinerary that we launched, also close in, also 17-night on the Seven Seas Splendor, is August 19th. And it's a 17-night Copenhagen to Stockholm itinerary. But as you can see, many different ports in Norway, Sweden, as well as an overnight in Helsinki, Finland on your way to Stockholm. So this one is also available to book, and 2 great new itineraries that we recently announced. Now, I wanted to end with 2 new promotions, as well as that exciting offering as a thank you for joining us on today's call. But we just recently launched a new promotion that involves select 2022-2023 itineraries and a free 2-category upgrade, as well as a $1,000 shipboard credit. So this is going to be available on select Europe, Alaska, Caribbean, Canada, New England, South America, and Africa itineraries. But this is just to give you a visual of the significance of this promotion. Here you have on board the Seven Seas Splendor our deluxe veranda suite accommodation, about 256 square feet accommodation. Here is the beautiful bathroom, still lovely, but under this promotion, on an applicable sailing, you will get upgraded to a superior suite, which has that same design as the concierge suite that I mentioned, same square footage. And here you have the superior suite, concierge suite bathroom. So significant value in this 2-category upgrade that just started April 1st, and it's good through June 30th. We also have a second promotion that we just launched, which is our free extended exploration promotion. And on this particular promotion, we are offering a free pre and post cruise land program on select South America and Africa voyages. Plus, we're layering in a 50% reduced deposit. So for example, we have on January 5th of 2023, a 24-night Cape Town to Buenos Aires itinerary, where under this promotion, you would receive a 3-night Winelands and Wildlife Land program. And then on the post, you'll receive a 3-night authentic Buenos Aires land program. So significant value in this promotion as well. And of course, if you opt out of the land portion, you would receive a non-use credit, which equates to a savings as well. So 2 wonderful promotions available. And as a thank you for joining us on today's call, I have an exclusive event offer with Luxury Cruise Connections, where we are offering up to $2,000 per suite savings on any new reservation that you make between today through April 21st. So this is significant savings, especially for those longer voyages. For example, if you were to go on a 30-plus night voyage on a concierge suite, you would receive a $1,500 savings, or if you go to a penthouse suite and above, it would equate to a $2,000 per suite savings. That again is exclusive for new bookings only for Luxury Cruise Connections, and the advisors with the agency are very familiar with the promotions I just went over, as well as this exclusive event offer for today's cause. Thank you for joining us.
I want to use this opportunity to let everybody know that this information is going to be sent to you together with the recording of the event. Okay, so feel free to take note, but also know that we're going to be sending this. So we have 68% of you guys have never sailed with Regent 7 Seas, so you might not maybe perceive how special this is, but if you follow Regent throughout time, you realize that Regent is not big on discounting. It's a luxury brand, and they try to keep the integrity of the brand very, very much upscale. But the promotion and the value add savings, or the savings in the form of value add that Regent 7 Seas is running right now, together with this offer, I mean, I haven't seen this in a long, long time, right? There are clearly some sailings throughout 2022 and early 2023 that I guess, due to X or Y reason are, still need a little push. And that's why Regent is being so aggressive with this promotions. This slide that is up right now is meant, by the way, only for new reservation. I wanna make sure that we highlight that particularly, because the reason why Regent does this is to incentivize some new reservations from this event. So hopefully, if you've already booked with Regent 7 Seas, hopefully you have a really good deal. If you'd like to make a new booking, even if it's for a later date, right? Even if it's for 2024, right? You'll be eligible for the savings. And again, combinable with the previous 2 slides that that Nicole was mentioning before. So if you're looking to go to the Med, if you're looking to go to South America, if you're looking to go to Africa, if you're looking to go to Alaska, basically any destination you can possibly think of going between, for this summer, Q4 2022, Q1 2023, there are dates where we can offer that double category upgrade promo, that 50% reduced deposit, that extra $500 shipboard credit for that promotion, and or more specifically, South America or Africa, the pre and post extensions. I mean, I've seen Regent running maybe pre-cruise promotions, but pre and post inclusive promotions is quite rare. And again, combinable with up to $2,000 savings, it's quite a unique offer. So Denise, I'm sorry, Nicole keeps calling. Denise is our marketing. Denise, one wave.
I'm here.
Sorry, Denise is our marketing manager. I'm gonna put her in the spotlight here so you know what I'm talking about.
Hello, everyone.
She's very much next to me.
Recognize me from previous interactions.
Okay, sorry. So Nicole, do you have any other slides that you wanna?
No. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing so I can see everybody's lovely faces.
Excellent. So beautiful. So let's use this opportunity. Then we have first of all, thank you, Nicole. Thank you very much for obviously for your time. And now we're going to open this up for Q&A and allow you guys to ask all the questions and everything that you want to know. So for those that joined us a little late, I am Carlos Sedri. I'm the CEO of Luxury Cruise Connections, and Nicole Castillo is our business development manager for Regent. She is our main point of contact. She's that person that allows Luxury Cruise Connections to work the magic that we work for our clients. And by that, I mean, if you've ever had an opportunity to do business with us before, I'm sorry, you would know that we're all about service and all about those special touches and those special details. And many of those little things that we do for our clients require some special, special doings and special touch on behalf of Regent. And Nicole is the one that helps us make our clients happy. We've had a relationship with Regent for many, many years. We are one of Regent's top producers in South Florida. And we pride ourselves from doing the business that we do because Regent believes in the same values that we believe, right? We're all about luxury travel, but most importantly, luxury service as well. And with that, we mean really making sure that our clients are well taken care of every single detail, every step of the way, personalized service, building relationships, right? Making the impossible happen for you. And it is because of that relationship that we've built throughout the years that we're able to continue to grow that relationship with Regent, because we have that amazing connection with Nicole and with the management team at Regent Spence's. So without further ado, I have some questions in the chat box. Hello, Cheryl, how are you? Cheryl has been one of our very loyal clients for many years. She deals with JC. Cheryl used to actually. Cheryl, have you been with Regent before? I'm not quite sure if you've ever sold with Regent before. I know you used to sell quite a bit with Crystal, which obviously, as we all know, is no longer around. But many of those Crystal past guests are now trying Regent, and they're very, very happy. So.
Right. No, I haven't. But I just found out my favorite waiter from Crystal is moving over to Regent, so I got to follow him. Anyway, I won't follow him right away though, because he's going to be nervous. He wants to have a little bit of time to get acclimated. So I might actually end up going on another cruise before I go on the one to see him. I do actually have some bullet point questions. They're kind of all over the place. I wouldn't mind, like, just they're simple yes or no questions for the most part.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay.
Sure. No, I'll go back to the questions in the chat, but please go ahead.
Okay. So one is, do you guys have a thalassotherapy pool on any of your ships?
No, we do not.
Okay. Is there music playing during cocktail hour live, not a DJ? Like
Yes,
before dinner or after dinner?
Yes, there is. There's usually a lounge right before you enter the dining room where we have live music. And then we also have that live music, after dinner on the main lounge up that I mentioned, the observation lounge on deck 12.
Would this be usually like a pianist or a guitarist? Is it, usually a one person musician?
Yes, it is.
Okay. King beds, is it from Superior? I'm understanding it might be from Superior up. Is that right?
We call it European king size beds is what our accommodations have. So it's not quite the king size that we're accustomed to here in the States. It's more what the Europeans call king size. And that is actually on all of our accommodations.
So it doesn't matter what size veranda I go with, it's going to be the same size bed.
It's going to be exactly European king size.
Okay, wonderful. Loose leaf tea, do you have it at all? In other words, I saw, like, when I was looking at a video, it seemed like all the choices that I saw for tea were bagged, and they were not the highest level. It was like twing, I don't know how you pronounce it, TWING, something like that, Twings English tea, but it's not loose leaf tea.
I'm not 100% sure on that one, Cheryl. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, love to know. My last question is, Are you guaranteed specialty restaurant reservations no matter what category, and also no matter how late you book? Like say I decide to book just a month before I'm going to sail, that kind of thing.
Good question. So you are able to make one reservation per specialty restaurant in advance, so prior to embarkation, and you are guaranteed that one reservation. Now, what happens is you may run into a situation where perhaps we close the reservations during certain times. It's very rare, but we do guarantee one reservation per specialty restaurant for all of our guests. And if we're not able to accommodate that prior, we actually have on board all of our ships a dining concierge, where their only responsibility is to make sure that we are accommodating guests in specialty restaurants. Most of the time, guests are able to dine in our specialty restaurants multiple times while they're sailing with us, but they're only able to make one reservation in advance.
Great, that's good to know. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. I know my husband's going to ask you, I'm going to let him, weigh in and ask his question. It has to do with safety and air on board. So give some thought to that, because he's on also in another room. I'm sure he'll be coming in, but he is diabetic and he still is very concerned about COVID. Wants to cruise. We have cruised Viking Ocean and Crystal since COVID. So we were ready to, but he's very concerned about air quality especially in the cabins. So maybe think about that, or I don't know if you want to just answer it now, because I know he's going to ask that question.
So we in terms of air quality on board the ships, we recently, due to the whole COVID situation, we partnered up with a company, and you might want to Google it, Atmos Air Solutions, which basically we installed air purification systems on board all of our ships. And the way the technology works, from my understanding, it tracks ions, attract the virus and break it down. So it's continuously disinfecting the air in the public areas, in your suites, and the surfaces. So it's a really great technology that we installed because of COVID, but that is here to stay on board all of our ships.
So let me just have a follow-up on that. So that's known to get rid of virus and not just bacteria?
No, I believe it's bacteria as well. So
Right,
it's
but I
Atmos
mean,
Air Solutions is the name of the
Virus and bacteria.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, so it's both.
right.
It's not
right.
just bacteria. And also, I know he's going to be concerned that are any of the cabins blocked together, or does each cabin have its own air system?
I'm not sure. I can certainly find out. I don't know if each cabin has its own air system.
Or just that it's not.
Let me explain it.
Yeah. Okay, there he is. That's
You
my
want me to
husband.
explain it? All right. So old days, they would have between 10 and 15 cabins hooked into the same air. So literally, you're sharing air with 15 cabins. Most of the newer ships have its own input of air coming from the outside. Not all. Now, my wife asked, you talked about Atmos, and I'll certainly look into it. My wife asked a question because there are some lines that say, we put new filters in and they filter 99% of germs. Unfortunately, a virus is not a germ. A virus is completely different. And it is, the COVID virus is 1/900th the size of a human hair. And it can get through a lot of things. It can get through, the virus will get through every mask, every N95 mask there is. But the virus is usually connected to, as they call it, aerosol, which is mucus and, liquefy, and that's what stops it on the mask. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I just want to understand better. And I'll be honest, it's hard because, if we call up and we talk to one of your reps, they're not going to have the answer either. They're not going to know the detail level that I'm asking. Obviously what I want to hear is HEPA filter. Now there's MERV 14s and there's all these other things, and I've done my research on them, and HEPA is what I want to hear. Because HEPA
In
is
terms
what
of
the
the air
airlines,
filter,
HEPA is
in
what the
terms of-
airlines use.
In terms of the air filtration system.
Yes,
on board.
yeah.
Yes. So I can confirm it's definitely HEPA, but then the technology I'm talking about is continuous air disinfection as
Right.
well.
It's sort of like UVC, which is a UVA and V ray that that will kill the virus literally. It's I won't go any further. It is debatable though how long that virus has to be in front of that UVC rod to be able to kill it. It's somewhat debatable. But so you are using HEPA filters.
Yes, correct. And then in
Then
addition
there's-
to the technology that I mentioned, and I can certainly send Carlos, I can send you information on all that
Yeah.
so you can pass it along.
Yeah, we'd love to. And David and Cheryl have been doing business with us for a long time. David, Cheryl, I hope we've been taking good care of you lately.
Yes,
have
of
been
course. Of course.
Fantastic, as always.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And look forward to many more years of taking good care of you. So
Yes.
we'll make sure to follow up with you on the details on this. And Cheryl, you know, kind of going back to the question of tea, and I wanna share with you something very unique, and I think it's relevant to the conversation about level of detail that Regent takes care of, and kind of what makes Regent so special. Because I have this question all the time, like, why, you know, what's the right client for what cruise? And let me give you just a quick example. I have a client that says, you know what, my wife only drinks non-long lasting milk, right? And I want to make sure that I have freshly squeezed juice every morning. And I want to make sure there's strawberries, or I want to make sure there's banana, or I want to make sure X, Y, and Z. So there are some cruise lines that do a great job of one thing, but there's this one cruise line called Regent Seven Seas, which I know we can very much rely on to make sure that those are the type of requests that are very much taken care of. And that they'll take it to another level, to a point where they'll get to know who you are. And so another example, you go to your room, and you go to your suite, and they have this little thing of nuts in your room, and the staff notices that the only thing you took from that little thing of nuts is the almonds, right? You most likely are going to find just almonds next time you come into your because that's the level of attention to detail that they're
I
going.
love that. I love that.
That's what we can. We know Regent will do that, right? That's what we can expect from you.
That's wonderful.
Okay. So, okay, great. So, I have some questions. I want to go through the questions that I have on the chat, and then as more questions come about, please, feel free to jump in, or interrupt. Just, we want to make this a very dynamic conversation. Okay. Warren was asking, I'm a gold member with Regent. I'm booked for the first time in Splendor this October. You're gonna love it, by the way. Question, will we be able to exchange currency at registration on board, dollars to euros?
So I was not 100% sure, so I saw that question come in. I kind of Googled it on our FAQs, and it says, yes, you may purchase certain currency from reception. All on board foreign currency exchange transactions will be charged to the guest onboard account. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. When I was, I've been on about 10 cruises with Regent, and I've been to Australia, and we did an Asian cruise. I did 2 segments of a world cruise. We went from Singapore up to Beijing, 30 days. And of course, going to every country with its own currency, Thailand, Korea, Vietnam. It was great to be able to get currency on board, to be able to go to the little shops and do all that.
Of course, of course. Well, you're in for a treat. Like Carlos said on the Splendor, I just got off of her a few weeks ago, and she is just, she actually sailed about 2 times before we voluntarily suspended, our sailings. So she's pretty much brand new, and she looks fantastic. She's truly a beauty, and the crew on board just has my heart. I mean, what a way to connect, and just, all the smiles from our guests. They just love the crew members on board the Splendor, and I think you're going to find that.
We've been bumped twice already, and we found a cruise that we liked, and one of the things when we got bumped, we got I think 125% future cruise credit. I was part of that benefit, so we were able to book a penthouse suite and a longer cruise using that credit. So we're looking. That's the last of the ships. We've been on every one, all the others, and we can't wait to get on Grandeur next.
Wow. I'm excited for you, Mr. Wolf. Thank you for your resilience. Sticking with that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for that question. And Katie is asking us, I have cruised many times, including a Viking. I have 3 adults in my party, retired parents, and 1 adult child. What's your practice on single supplements? What's the mean age of passengers?
So in terms of our single supplement, we do have on select sailings, we do single supplements as low as, I believe, 50% or 25%. It's not on all of our sailings. It's not a standard offering that we have, but there are quite a bit of sailings where we have reduced single supplements. And I can send that over to whichever advisor you work with in Luxury Cruise Connection so they can pass that along. As far as the medium age on board, marketing will tell you about 65, 68, but I like to say it's more of a mindset, in my opinion, in terms of, someone who likes personalized service, wants to be immersed in destinations, can appreciate, the every luxury included component. And then, of course, that demographic will change depending on destinations as well.
Good. I have some questions are coming in as direct messages. You might not see them. I'm still gonna read them. I hope you guys don't mind. Bob wants to know, is Ray Soler cruise director on any sailings?
Bob, I'm not sure if he is. I can certainly find that out for you. I'm not sure if he's on board.
Ray is on Navigator. We were on Navigator. Our last cruise, we were on Navigator from Amsterdam to New York. We did a transatlantic crossing with Ray. He's my favorite cruise director, and I've been in contact with him during pandemic.
Oh, wow.
We were doing trivia by internet, and he's back on Navigator.
I love our past passengers. I love them on this call. They can answer the questions for me. Fantastic.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yes.
That's great. Warren, have we ever had an opportunity to take care of you in the past? Have you done business with us before? Can't hear you, sorry.
And I do have an agent that I work with locally.
Ah, okay.
But I'm a loyal Regent cruiser.
Thank you for your loyalty.
Hopefully one day we'll have an opportunity to, show you our magic one day.
All right.
We have a question from Martin. Currently, Regent requires negative tests 72 hours before embarkation in Europe. If we're adding a couple of extra nights with Regent and planning to arrive more than 72 hours before embarkation, how is COVID test handled?
We will, if you are doing any cruise arrangements with us, we're going to help you facilitate that test in order to fulfill that requirement. Now, I'm not quite sure, Martin, when your sailing is, but that will be detailed in the notification that we sent out 30 days prior, and then again closer in. Yes.
If they didn't plan the pre-excursion with Regent, but they did it independently, they have to find a place to get themselves tested wherever they are 72 prior to embarkation, correct?
Correct. And I know that we also are assisting even with resources for that if they did independent arrangements. But we're also, providing, you're able to do testing at the pier as a last case resort as well. There is a nominal fee for that, but it is an option that we're offering as well.
Okay. I want you guys to know as well that if you book through Luxury Cruise Connections, you probably have an assigned travel advisor, right? but know that you also have an assigned concierge advisor. And so that's the type of stuff that usually our concierge advisor is going to be able to help you with as you plan your trip. So, our concierge team will, at no additional fee, of course, and I meant no additional fee, are going to be able to help you with restaurant reservations, transfers, any pre or post arrangement. But also, even if you didn't do all those arrangements with us, but you have questions about where can I get tested before, or where can I, whatever you imagine, we're here to help you with those questions and arrange those things for you. So we'll help you find where to get tested before we need to. And we'll either work it with Regent or through our own resources, but that's what we're here for. Okay.
Yeah, this is Martin. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're sailing in July, and we're going to spend 3 nights in the hotel before. So obviously, we're going to be there before the 72 hours.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we'll be happy to help.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I have another direct message. Jim, do you have recommendations for the 48-hour testing if your concierge or above your 24-hour before boarding? Is there something local that you use? Jim, I'm not exactly sure what destination you're referring to, but like I said, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. And by the way, I do want to mention the following. We're a full-fledged travel agency, right? We do focus in cruises, of course, but you should know that one of our core values, kind of the reason why we do what we do, is because it is within our core to help travel dreams come true. So, by the way, even if you didn't make a reservation with us, but you need help with anything, count on us. We're happy to help with anything. Like, know this, even if we didn't make a commission on your booking, I want you to know that we want to help. Okay, we're all about relationships. We're all about long-term relationships. So, we'll hopefully that'll be the start of a great relationship in the future. But please count on us for anything. Okay. Katie, regarding air, best to prevent COVID is individual air for each cabin, shared air, spread viruses. Okay, understood. Yeah, we're gonna, if anybody has more questions or wants to know more detail on the air filtration system, Nicole is going to get those answers for us, and I'll be happy to share those with anybody that has more questions. Okay, I'll please let us know. What is the dress? Yeah.
Oh, hi, my name is Leda, and I have one question on the included excursions that you guys provide. I was interested in the South American cruise, and I wanted to know what kind of excursions you actually provide for us, especially when you reach like Ushuaia, which is Tierra del Fuego. I wonder what's available. Like, can you give me an example? Because I've looked at all others, and many of them will cost $200 to $300. So I just wanted to know if those are the ones that you're including, or if it's something completely different.
What I can do is we actually have detailed description of shore excursions that we're offering at every particular port per itinerary. I can certainly gather for you the shore excursions that we're offering for the itinerary that you're interested in, and send that over to your advisor so she can share that, or he can share that over with you. That way you have detailed information, because I don't know off the top of my head, particular included shore excursions that we offer for South America.
Okay, thank you.
But it's information we can certainly provide for you. Absolutely.
Oh, and also when you are on these excursions, I'm assuming that you have to provide tipping for the excursions, right?
We include tipping on board, but it is customary, for the tour operators, typically our guests are tipping them as well. Tipping them, I should say. Yes.
Thank you.
Leda, count on us following up with you after this event with a specific answer to your question. Okay, so we'll reach out to you, get more specifics, and then we'll follow up with the answer. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for asking. So sorry, did we address the dress code? What is the dress code of very extensive? We addressed that one.
No, we
No.
did not, but it is country club, elegance or casual, so to speak, is what we say. So for sailings that are more than 14 nights, we do have optional formal nights, but for sailings that are less than 14 nights, we don't have formal nights. So you'll see the attire being country club casual on board our ships.
Okay, great. And Maura is asking us, she says, I'm single. Are supplements 100% or do we have 0 supplements?
So we do have on certain sailings, we do single supplements as low as 25% and 50%, but it's not on all sailings. It would be on select sailings.
Okay, great. Allison wants to know, what supplemental insurance agency do you work with? Not exactly sure if the question is specific to what does Regent use as trip insurance. I believe Regent uses Allianz.
What, Aon? Is it Aon?
Aon?
It's Aon, yes.
Okay. As a travel agency, we tend to work a lot with Travel Guard, Allianz, and some other insurance companies. Our number one that we recommend the most, and depending on the needs of each client, is Travel Guard. There's some pros and cons of deciding on whether you want to use cruise line insurance or third-party insurance. It really depends on what your needs are. We particularly like independent insurance for the fact that you can insure air that has not been booked with a cruise line. You can insure pre or post trips that you might have not done with the cruise line, but also because when you book third-party travel insurance, you have a lot of flexibility in what you can use it for. So when you purchase insurance with the cruise line, this is not particular to Regent, this just happens throughout the industry. It's a little tip or trick here that you can take. When you use insurance with the cruise line, it might give you some flexibility for what they call cancel for any reason to some extent, and it has its own terms and conditions. But the downside is you basically, like, if say there's disruption with that itinerary, you're stuck with that insurance. Whether it's third-party insurance, you can take that insurance and place it on any other trip, right? So you have a lot more flexibility on what you can do with third-party insurance. Many more details on that. Our advisors and concierge team are super knowledgeable and versed on the subject, so feel free to ask those questions to our team as you're making your reservation. But hopefully that answers your question, Allison. Let me know if we gotta go back to it, okay? Katie also asks, do you also help with PCR prior to returning to the US if it's still required?
Yes, we are prepared to facilitate that on board as well, whether it's a PCR test or an antigen test. And actually, I mentioned I came back from the Splendor and I got off earlier, and I needed a PCR test because Roatan, Honduras required it. So it was very easy. I just went the night before prior to getting off, and I received, the formal negative result, with the stamp of approval, and was able to present that. So it's very seamless, and that's something we're prepared to be able to accommodate if needed.
I also want to point out on that subject. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but stay tuned for April 18th. That's a very important date for the travel industry. That is a date where it's expected for some serious changes. Well, actually, more flexibility to be imposed, I guess, on the regulations for testing and so forth. So stay tuned for April 18th. That's a critical date for the travel industry. Okay, Howard, hi, new to Regent. What type of entertainments do you have? Live shows, nightclubs, etc.
So we have everything the larger ships have, just in a more intimate setting in terms of entertainment. So we have the main theater where we have our Constellation Theater where we have Broadway style type of shows. We also have, about 2 or 3 lounges where we have live entertainment. I know on the Splendor, one of the nights they were doing karaoke with the entertainment team, and that was a popular one. We also have things like casinos on board our ships, full service spas, fitness centers. So when I say we have everything the larger ships have, just in a more intimate setting.
Okay, good. Katie asks, I heard that Regent was the iteration of Renaissance, was a new iteration of Renaissance, Renaissance cruises, which she sailed on prior to 9/11. Is that true? What's the relationship between Regent and Renaissance?
So our CEO, Frank Del Rio, was actually oversaw Renaissance. But he created, you may be familiar with Oceania Cruises. So he was the founder of Oceania Cruises. And then, gosh, about a decade ago, maybe even more so, they purchased Regent. Oceania purchased Regent. And then, a couple of years later, we fell under the umbrella of Norwegian Cruise Line. But Frank Del Rio was part of Renaissance, but when that all happened, he created the Oceania brand, and then a couple of years later, he was part of acquiring the Regent brand, but Regent was already established. So I guess that's the relationship of Renaissance, but we don't have any of the former Renaissance ships. The Regent brand does not.
But there are some executives, I think, came from Renaissance or something like that, or one of the founders of Regent had something to do with Renaissance too, I believe. I can't recall exactly what the story is, but anyway, that's what we know. Nancy is asking, there appear to be separate excursions to the included trips, smaller tours, etc. Where would we find these, and is there additional cost? So more specifically, I wanna basically kind of restructure that question. Not every single excursion is included. What excursions are not included, and what are the relative costs to it?
So we have the free unlimited shore excursions offerings, and then in addition to that, we have what we call our Regent Choice excursions, where there is a nominal fee for those. So these would be shore excursions that would be technically valued more than $200 per person. So for example, bear watching tour in Alaska, an example of an included shore excursion. A helicopter ride over a glacier in Alaska, that would be considered a Regent Choice excursion at an additional cost. But keep in mind that even with our Regent Choice excursions, even though there is an additional cost, we do factor in cost to those as well. So for that helicopter ride, you'd probably be saving about 30%, with purchasing that helicopter ride through us versus if you were to compare that same helicopter ride excursion with another cruise line. And then our small group tours, I'm glad you brought that up. So this is a new program that we've offered here in the last couple of months. And it's basically the same shore excursions that we offer for our free unlimited shore excursion offerings. You're just guaranteed no more than 16 guests. So for our free unlimited shore excursion offerings, you probably have on a motor coach that accommodates 45 people. We don't fill it ever to 45. You're looking at 20, 25, 30 at the most. But if you want to be guaranteed an even more intimate experience, our small group option would probably be a nice alternative for you. There is a very nominal fee for that option.
And what you'll find is that for those choice excursions, when you're looking at the pricing, and by the way, that's also something that our concierge team does all the time, right? That's what they're there for, to help you plan those excursions, and they'll provide you with the list and pricing for choice excursions in case you want any of them. But you will, as you see the pricing, you will very easily notice the fact that they're heavily discounted, and that they're very much taking into account that you're supposed to have a whole bunch of excursions included. This is just a little add-on to the experience, right? And Warren mentioning about Paul Gauguin separated on its own. Yes, so Paul Gauguin used to be a ship within the Regent brand, but it was managed by Regent. It was really never owned by Regent. right? And then they just ended up separating and taking their own management and continuing to manage their ship on their own. It was always called Paul Gauguin, and it was privately owned. It was just managed by Regent and marketed by Regent.
Yeah. Warren, I can tell you have a lot of history with us. I love it. But yes, that's correct. Paul Gauguin kind of ventured on, and I don't remember the year, but a lot of our past passengers really think of Paul Gauguin very fondly.
Yeah. Mary, to arrive in certain countries, you can present a letter from a doctor attesting that you had COVID within 90 days of arrival instead of a test. It does not appear that cruise lines are allowing that. Do you know if they might?
As a very good question, Mary. As of right now, we are not allowing this. Of course, things can change, but as of right now, we are not taking in consideration if you've had COVID in the last 90 days. But things change rapidly here, and I wouldn't rule that out, but we're just not quite there yet.
Mary, I think the reason behind that, by the way, is because cruise lines are visiting so many different countries. Not only one particular sailing, multiple countries, but they have ships all over the place, right? They try to keep the communication as consistent as possible across the board. So imagine if they went into specifically advising guests of, for this sailing, you don't have to do this because we're not visiting this port, or for this one you do, it becomes extremely difficult to manage. So they try to create a little bit more blanket policies for this. That's why I think you're very unlikely you would see you would see something like that happening unless it becomes a norm throughout the world. Another question from Cheryl: is there a house band? If yes, how many musicians in the band, and do they play at the Broadway main shows?
There is a house band, and actually Steve reminded me, Cheryl, Steve, who's part of your team, Carlos, that actually on the Splendor in the lounge right before you enter the Compass Rose, there is that live band playing there before dinner, and I believe it was a 3-piece band. Steve, if you want to chime in on that one, because I know that you recently sailed as well.
Yeah, hi Nicole, hi everybody. Yeah, it was around 3 or 4 pieces with a singer as well. So there was live band, and then they had karaoke. So it was very lively those evenings, without a doubt. It wasn't just a pianist, it was live band, and people were really getting into it. So that the lounge just before the Compass Rose does have live music, and it's more than just a pianist.
And I do not believe that they played on the main shows. I think it completely separate entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. They were separate entertainers. They were not part of the live shows that we could see in the theater. They were just basically in the lounge there before the Compass Rose.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I even got involved in the singing.
Oh, I wish we had recording. What I would give to have a recording of that.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much for that insight. Yeah, Steve is one of our senior advisors, been with us for many years with over 40 years experience in this industry, very knowledgeable advisor. So thank you for that insight, Steve. Actually,
You're welcome.
Steve is a Virtuoso Icon advisor, by the way. It's a top 100 advisors at Virtuoso. So.
Top 1%, 72 out of over 20,000 advisors, and I'm in the top 1%. So I'd be more than happy to assist anyone. And by the way, just one more thing that you mentioned, Nicole, that you didn't mention, the PCR test on Regent 7 Seas with everything else that is complimentary, that is complimentary too. When you're getting off the ship and you have to go to the airport for the United States, that is complimentary as well.
Thank you for mentioning that, Steve. Yes, that is something that we are covering on board.
Okay, and one more thing that was sort of mentioned, Carlos mentioned everything that you guys do for us and for our guests. For guests who have not cruised with Regent 7 Seas, Regent 7 Seas is the only cruise line where when I make a reservation and any of us make a reservation, we can ask you what you like to drink, whether it be spirits, wine, beer, sodas, water, whatever, and Regent 7 Seas will have it in your suite ready for you to consume as soon as you enter your suite. And if you need more bottles, they will add to it.
You know, and just to mention, you know, just to highlight on that, just when you think about the amount of detail of what these, you know, our crew members, our suite attendants notice, you know, every once in a while, I like to have a Diet Coke, not every day, just every once in a while. And I would notice that whenever I would use the Diet Coke, you know, that evening, it was replenished in the mini bar. So just, again, it's all about the details and them finding out what's important to you without you even having to say it. You know, another example is the laundry. You know, we talk about a new inclusion, and, you know, I thought, this is a new inclusion. Let me see what this is all about, what the experience is like, just so I can be able to articulate it to all of you. And so I sent in a couple of blouses in, and when I got back my laundry, it was like I got this present. It was this beautiful box with, you know, branded tissue paper. You know, I opened it up and there is my laundry. I thought they went and bought me new clothes of how beautiful it was presented. But again, it's a bunch of little things that make up the big difference. And that's the best way that I can describe, you know, how special our brand is.
Yeah, I felt the same thing when I got my first thing of laundry. It was like there was a gift on the bed, and it was the laundry, and it was done beautifully, had our names on it, and it was great. So fantastic.
Nicole, now let me ask you this: butler service, how do you get butler service in Regent?
Good question. So penthouse suites and above is the category in which you have our, you know, our butler service. And, you know, our butlers are truly trained to anticipate your needs, but I feel like our suite attendants, you know, do a phenomenal job too. But, you know, part of the butler service is you'll have, you know, hors d'oeuvres delivered to you every day, I believe at 4 o'clock. You know, they can make specialty restaurant reservations for you if you need to, you know, dine there, or you would like to dine there more. They can coordinate arrangements shoreside. So they're really, they do a phenomenal job, but that will begin at the penthouse suite level accommodation.
And what other perks do penthouse suite or above get?
So you also receive discounts, for example, on the Regent Choice excursions. So there's a certain percent the savings that you receive. You're able to book your specialty restaurants and your shore excursions, I believe 30 days sooner than someone who's, you know, booked in one of our deluxe veranda suite accommodations. So definitely different. You get some free phone time. You know, we include internet, but for example, for the deluxe veranda suites, it's one login per suite. When you go up to the concierge suite level or the penthouse suite level, it's 4 devices for the internet. So again, the higher up you go, we include more, and those are just a few examples.
And Nicole, don't forget, concierge and penthouse and above get a complimentary evening at the pre-cruise hotel.
How can I forget that? Yes. So basically, if you are booking our concierge suite or above accommodations, we're going to include a free 1-night hotel as part of the package. So basically, we fly you in a day before, put you in a nice hotel property, and your vacation with us starts then. You also have the option of opting out of that and receiving a non-use credit, but most of our guests are taking part of that pre-1-night hotel package, because it also includes transfers as well to the ship.
Exactly. Good. Nicole, what about high tea? How often per cruise? Is there high tea? Is high tea served, and how often per cruise?
There is high tea on board our ships, usually right before trivia. I know for sure on sea days, but I guess I don't know. I was out at the port, so I'm not quite sure if on port, you know, when at port, if we're providing that as well. Steve, do you remember?
Yeah, I was enjoying the complimentary excursions as well, so I'm not
sure. But Cheryl,
sure.
I can certainly find that out for you if it's, you know, on port days, if we're offering high tea.
Warren is sharing with us 4 p.m.
4 p.m. for high tea, and then trivia's right after.
Trivia's right after. Okay, good. Thank you guys for sharing those details. Good. Lots of really good questions, guys. Lots of really good questions. And you should know that if you come up with any other questions after this event, feel free to email us. Just respond to the invitation you got to this event. We'll get that email. We'll get back to you. We're here for you. We want to take care of you and build a relationship. So, yeah. And if any other questions, please. This is when. Nicole, I'm getting a question here, another direct question here. What is the transfer policy for Regent?
The transfer policy.
Booking transfer policy. Like if they book directly with Regent, but they want to transfer the booking to us for us to take care of them, what is the transfer policy?
So you are able to transfer it, to a travel agency as long as the booking has been made within 30 days. But that's the way the policy works. I'm not quite sure when that particular booking was made, but if the booking was made within 30 days, then you can transfer that over to an agency.
Okay. And how does that work? She wants to know, how does that work more specifically? Like, does anything change to that reservation? What does that process look like?
If it's booked directly through us, no, we would just transfer it over to the agency, and everything would remain as is. If anything, I mean, for example, Luxury Cruise Connections is affiliated with Virtuoso. And, I know on a good amount of sailings, you have Virtuoso amenities. So if the sailing you happen to book, is one of those Virtuoso amenities, once it's transferred over, we would be able to apply those Virtuoso amenities to that reservation. But as far as everything else, pricing, all that would remain the same.
So they'd essentially be able to get more perks with that booking once it's transferred over to us. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, obviously, we wanna be there for you and really provide you with the most amount of value that we can, and that obviously happens more often when we can take care of you from the beginning. But there's a lot of value that we'd like to share with you and provide and extend to you, even throughout that entire planning process of your trip, right? Which the booking the cruise might just be the little first piece of it, but then there's everything that happens around that we want to be here for you and help you out as well. So thank you. It's a good question. Thank you for asking. What other questions do we have out there? What else do you want to know? I know that we're past our 4 p.m. But so many good questions, we didn't want to cut it off. So, but I also want to be respectful of your time and of Nicole's time. So I don't want to overextend either. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for participating and for asking and for traveling and for exploring. And we're extremely excited about, just having an opportunity to share all this information with you, and excited about, the amazing comeback of the industry. I mean, guys, not sure how much of this you've been following, but I'm sure you have following this quite a bit. The CDC removed all warnings on cruise industry. Countries are opening up even more. Everything is starting to feel slowly but surely a lot more normal. Definitely the experience on board feels as normal as ever. Thank you all for your loyalty to Regent, to Luxury Cruise Connections, and for your passion for traveling and for exploring the world. And we look forward to seeing you on a Regent 7 Seas ship, and we look forward to hopefully being there for you and helping you plan that trip as well. And like I said, if you have any other questions or there's anything else you want to know, we are as attentive to detail as Regent is. So feel free to ask even the most detailed questions you can think of. We'll go above and beyond to get those answers for you. Okay?
And I just want to add, Carlos, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this format. I loved this conversation. Loved hearing from our past passengers, new inquiries for folks, those questions that were phenomenal. But thank you so much for having me. I love you guys. Appreciate your partnership, but this was wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Take care, Nicole. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everyone.